Hey, it's Jimmy, Watson, and Michael here to do the voiceover for our iMovie. So to start us off, this is a little path behind Watson's farm that leads to a shack that isn't used anymore that looks perfect for the apothecary scene. It's coming up soon. So we had a few cuts to show where I was running, and then here soon you'll see the shack that is behind the farm. Jimmy.
Well, it's really hard to see a little bit in this movie to appreciate the greatness of the shack, but the roof is that's filled with iron roof tiles, and it's rusting. There are holes in it. Vines are growing all over the shed. It looks great for the apothecary scene. It's
Also,
perfect.
also notice all of like the old jars and animal skulls to show that like the apothecary's store and his home where he sells, and he's just a weird guy in general.
And you saw earlier that the knife that I used to cut the bag was actually a real knife, and we actually did cut through the bag. And when you'll see a little bit, when Thomas pours the coins out onto the table, you can see the holes in the bag, and you can see them right there. And we also for this scene filled up lots of bottles with food coloring all over, and we just wanted to make it look very
Notice
apothecary-like.
the broken doll's head to represent just death in general of the poison and everything.
And right here, when Thomas is about to pour in the food coloring, you'll notice all the bottles start to shake right about here. And that's to symbolize the power of the poison being mixed into the water, and it just is carries a really big subject in death, and it's really powerful.
So we tried a bunch of camera angles because we wanted to do the best we can to really show all of the time we put in for the props on this particular scene. And in the next shot, you might see a little bit more of the props behind my shoulder. But this is this was a great setup for the opening apothecary scene.
Now we're moving on to the scene where Juliet wakes up from her poison-induced sleep, and here I am as Paris bringing her flowers, and then we have an intercut here between it's coming up. It's not quite here yet, but it's between Romeo and Balthazar talking, as well as what's going on inside the tomb, and also the friar makes a few
Also,
appearances.
also notice when you see when he walks out of the tomb and walks into the tomb, the candles are burning. They're in the shape of an R and a J on the other side to symbolize Romeo and Juliet.
And here Balthazar lies down, and then this is a little bit far from the actual the tomb area, so he falls asleep. And in that time, Romeo travels to the exact location of the tomb, and that's where he sees Paris, and the fight scene begins.
Also notice the old lantern because it said Paris came with a torch, so the lantern, we don't want like a modern day flashlight. We're trying to keep it as real as possible with the lantern.
So we decided to use these two swords instead of the two daggers that they're carrying because we thought they looked a bit more authentic. And the one that Jimmy's using, which just actually missed me in real life by about 6 inches, Watson found in a creek, and he thinks it's a Civil War sword.
And then the one that Michael has, Michael got back from
Japan.
Japan. And so we have two real swords, which is kind of dangerous.
Yeah, and then later on, where Michael kicks the sword out of my hand, we use a dagger we brought back from France, which is
And
also
also
real.
notice the shot we had just a second ago that makes Jimmy look taller. That was one of the master
And
cuts from the book.
this is the other master cut. This is called the finishing move when the other person that is about to be the person that is killing the other person is shown right above the other person before they deliver the finishing blow.
Notice
When we were filming the fight scene, we wanted to make one person seem a lot more powerful than the others by using the shadows and stuff like that.
So here we go almost back a little bit in time to when Watson and the friar are talking about where Romeo is. And then we cut back to real time and Romeo enters in the tomb. And that's it's greater than
tomb. And you can also see that she's wearing makeup, as it says in the book, how there's still her cheeks are rosy and her lips are red.
So we did some cross-cutting here, because these two events are taking place at around the same time. This is a bit earlier with Friar Lawrence, hence the reason we made the lighting lighter, because he still has to travel from where he is with Balthazar to the tomb.
Mm-hmm.
And this shows how close Friar Lawrence comes to saving Romeo and Juliet's life and for everything to working out. But right as he's about to enter, Romeo drinks the poison, and then Friar Lawrence sees him falling dead, which is
That was
much
the
more powerful.
that was the intercut techniques I was talking about earlier when a friar has to travel, and it's kind of like previous in time and real time, and then right about here it catches up to real time with each other.
They finally caught up, but he calls out, but it's too late because he's already died. And right after he dies, Juliet begins to wake up.
Notice the cross in the prayer chapel, and the crosses in the chairs as well to symbolize the tomb, and there's a cross on the back of the chair as well, and so there's crosses are everything.
This location is in the NUMC prayer chapel. It was also a really awesome location to film this. It was a very small, but just big enough for us to film this. Had everything we needed.
3 stained glass windows in it, and candlelight.
Coming up soon is going to be the part where Juliet kills herself, and she stabs herself with Romeo's dagger. And this is twice now that we've used a technique for when someone dies to use a shadow, because obviously we cannot
Actually
stab
her.
ourselves. So when right before it's coming up right here, she picks up the knife, and we have her drawing it up, and then we have it going inside of her. Here we have Watson riding in on one of his horses, and then we have him delivering the lines of the prince. And we thought that we had some really cool angles here to have to get the whole horse's body, and then have Watson speaking. And we just really wanted to emphasize the fact that we actually used a horse as one of our settings. And anyways, thank you for watching our commentary. And Mr. Meyer, please nominate us for everything. Thank you. Bye.